Okay. So what I'm saying is, when they say when you're pandering, they say a lot of men say you're pandering to the ladies. What I'm saying to you is, when men come to a platform and they're going through something with their significant other,
Right.
when they're going through something, they don't want to hear. Men, when they come in, they don't want to hear. You picked her. You picked the parts in this bitch. You did it. It was your fault. You did it. It's you. Right? Especially a man that's about to blow his pipe. A man that's about to snap. He don't want to hear. You picked her. It's your fault. You did it. That'll put her to do it anyway.
You're absolutely right. And first
Right?
and first and foremost, I don't do that. If I'm on your stream, black man, and we're having a general conversation, then that's what I'm going to do. There's no time on my channel of over 300 videos has a man come on Testimony Friday and said, "Hey man, I'm about to self-delete." And I said, "Well, it was your fault." No. On the conversation that we're having, I address it accordingly. We've been on these panels for over 6 months. Canadian black man, check me. Mandrell, check me if I'm wrong. Saying the same things. A man needs a woman to submit. A woman needs to submit to the man. A woman needs this. A woman needs to do this. A woman needs to do that. My brother, I don't understand. I'm not saying that any relationships does not have issues. All relationships have issues. All relationships do. But the core of a relationship is the man should know his position and she should know her position. That should be established ground zero. If you did not establish that, if she did not establish that, or if you lay it down and she doesn't agree, pick up and move on. We have to stop being so impatient to say, I want this shorty. She banging. So I'm going to grab her. And then when she end up being not what you thought she was, we blame her. Same thing with the men, with the women. You have to take your time. You're about to hand your life to this man. You're going to submit to him. You better make sure you choose correctly. When have I not said that? Mandrell, have I ever said that?
All the time.
I'm trying to understand where I come up here.
Hey, y'all, to be fair, hold on, Bolo, to be fair, let's, between you and Black Man, let's keep it between y'all. Y'all, hang in the background so we can pick up that.
When
and Bolo, you send this to your channel?
Yeah, I am. Because I was supposed to go on. And I'm here with you. Do you mind?
I don't mind.
I can take it down if you want. Sir Hale?
No. I said you good. I just saw your channel. I saw me. I'm like, hold on. I see my wife on there. I'm like, what's going on here?
Yeah, I was supposed to go on 11:30, but we're having this conversation. I think it's important that we have it. What I'm saying is the reason why I make that statement that I'm going to be called simp and that I'm going to be called this and I'm going to be called that. Heavy is the head that wears the crown. That is the head. Of course, bro.
Amen.
If we're going to say that we're this and we're that, it doesn't mean that we don't have problems. It doesn't mean that we don't help each other. The issue is, I'm telling you, listen, I go on every day. Every day I go on. Twice at times. Every day. 2:45, I leave my home, my bro. And I travel 2 states to get to work. And before I go to work, I get on. Then I come back home. At 9 o'clock, I get home. 9. You do the math. 2:45 to 9 o'clock. And I come on. Sometimes I tell you, I'm tired and I'm going to take a day. You can count on your fingers how many times I took a day off. Why? Because men need an outlet. That's why. Because men need an outlet. But the point that I'm trying to make is we still can't negate the positions of the men opposed to the positions of the women. We got to get our act together. We got to get it together. And we need to do it together. This is why I love talking to you. This is why I love talking to Sir Hale. Man, this is why I love talking to you. Because we have this discourse, but it's important to have it. Because it's not about me saying the buck stops with you. I'm saying that if you're talking about being the king, If you're talking about being the head, shouldn't you have your act together? So let's figure out where we went left. Let's figure that out. So if black man is to call me and say, yo, Bolo, man, I'm bugging. I'm going to say, what's going on, brother? First off, where are you at? I'm good. And I'm not going to go that route. All right. So now we can keep the conversation. We could talk. This is what I do. This ain't that I put on YouTube. And I've been doing this for over 35 years. I've been doing it for 35 years. But we have to understand that if you do not address what dysfunction you bring to the situation, it does not help the situation. So if I'm talking to a brother, I'm going to deal with what he brought to that situation. If I'm talking to his wife, I'm going to deal with what she brought to the situation. If I get them both together, then we deal with it accordingly. But and here's the crazy thing. I counsel more men than I do women. I counsel more men than I do women. Why do the brothers call?
He ain't lying. He ain't lying. He ain't lying.
Why do the brothers call? Why? Because I'm going to keep it a buck with you. I'm going to keep it a buck. That doesn't mean that I'm not going to be sympathetic and empathetic to your situation, but I'm going to keep it a buck. I'm going to keep it 100. I know how to be tenderhearted. I know how to deliver the message. I know if a brother isn't strong enough, I'm not going to deliver it to him strong. I'm going to deliver it to him so he can take it in and swallow it because he needs milk. And when he's built up to meat, give him the meat. Some men, they can take meat when they're in their dysfunction. Some can't. Some can't. But the thing is, we can't come up on these platforms and as husbands, or if you're in a serious relationship long-term and you're not going nowhere, just sit there and say, it's her, it's her, it's her. What about those women that do this? What about those women that do that? Cool. Let's pump our brakes and slow it down a little bit. Cool. We understand she's messed up. How long have you been in that relationship? 6 years. When did you find out she was like that? A year in. So why are you still with her? I was on a panel and a woman had a father who was with a woman for 40 years, emasculating. And he said the same thing you said to me. Said the same thing. Here we go. This brother's blaming men. I said, but hold on, sir. Host, you said if a woman disrespects you one time, once, you out. Right? Yes, I did. She's been disrespecting him for 40 years. 40 years. So at this point, you deserve it. You deserve it. Why? Because you don't have no self-love. That's why before I came to this point, I said we have to know and love ourselves. So once I know what my worth is, I can demand my value. So now I have my standards. My value is showing my standards. So when I meet a chick that's for the streets, I'm gonna sit there and go, you are so beautiful on the outside, but on the inside, you're dirty. I can't deal with that. You're not for me. You're for someone else. So I have to be mature enough to pick up and bounce. Are we doing that? Most of us are not. Most of us are looking at her and saying, damn, shorty banging. We shoot up the club, transfers of powers happens. Then when she takes us to court and fleeces us, then we say she's the one. But what part did you play in it?
Let me jump in. That's just not statistically the case. What you're saying, so what you're saying does just hear me out. Just hear me out. Hold on. So the reason why this space has exploded like because we've heard that our mamas have told us this. Our mamas have told us this. Our aunties have told us. Our grandmas and them have told us this. The deacons have told us this. Pastors have preached this. So we're already aware of what by the numbers. Just by the numbers. Most guys living like that. Most guys are just not doing. And I think that that's where you get a little bit of pushback because there's a lot of truth. But it's no different than what we've for years. And I think the times have changed. And I think that the message that has to match the times. I think that's why you get some pushback.
Okay, can I speak? Okay, can I speak?
I'm gonna say this and I'm gonna leave. And I'm sorry. I never gave a statistic. I never said that there's 80% of men doing this or 30%. I'm saying that the men that are complaining and bringing up these conversations, and let me not even say complaining, the men that are bringing up this issue and having these problems, we have to go into every situation and compartmentalize it. We can't, take a broad stroke at everything. No, we can't. It'd be foolish to do that. We go into every situation individually and converse with that person and say, okay, how did you end up here? Whether it's the man or the woman, how did you end up here? Let's first, because a lot of the trauma starts from when we're children and we boggle it up. We put trauma on top of trauma, trauma on top of trauma. And then we get together in these relationships and we trauma bond. And then a child is born from it and the cycle continues. So a lot of these men that suffer with depression, a lot of the times they don't even know where it comes from because they suffer and they have so many issues. And that's the problem with depression. The problem with depression is we've suffered with it so long, we don't even know where it starts. So this is why anyone that has a person that suffers with depression, you need to be extremely patient with that person, extremely patient. But I didn't just want to.
There's no disagreement. I think that's a different point.
I'm just saying that I don't say every man. I'm not saying that every man suffers with that situation that I brought up before. But I don't just want to leave on that. So I want the young lady to speak before I break it, because I don't just want to speak and then leave.
Before Robbie goes, we have to acknowledge the wonderful Taka Williams for his $20 super chat. Thank you so very much for supporting Sir Hale Network. He says, Sir Hale, good evening, my brother. Shout out to the panel and the chat. Thank you, Talk. All right, Robbie, what you got?
Robbie, Black man, Bolo. Black man said he's upset that you got to block his signal. I said, just want to answer that.
He says, I'm in a bad area, guys. Damn it, Bolo, I'm going to got to block guys.
You know what? Tell Black man, I'm gonna come, and then you know what? I love you, Black man. I love you, brother.
Bang, bang, bang.
Thank you, Bolo. Thank you. All right, Robbie.
Hi, I agree with Bolo because at the end of the day, we always hear men talking about the single mother, as if the children don't have a father. Now, when we start talking about the numbers, so in
Welcome, everybody. Welcome. Thank you for being here. You could have been any place, but you chose to be here. Thank you. I appreciate everything that you guys do and everything that you are. Thank you so much. Sorry I came in late. I was on Sir Hale Speaks channel. It's an awesome channel. You guys need to check it out. Please go there and subscribe. The content that he gives is awesome. The conversation was with Black Men Unfiltered. He has a good channel. Check it out, guys. You know, I know that I had to broadcast at 11:30. So again, I apologize. But it was a conversation that I thought needed to be had, right? Where we talk about all these conversations that we're having. And Black Man made a good point. He made a good point that men specifically are feeling away. They've never had a voice or hardly ever had a voice. And now that we have the internet, man, they have a voice. They have a place where they can come. They have a place where they can vent. They have a place where they can speak. They have a place where they can talk about what they're going through, what they've been going through. They have a place to talk about their abuse. They have a place where they can talk about their depression, their mental illness, their addiction. They have a place where they can voice their hurt, voice their turmoil, voice their trauma. We need it. And I want you guys to hear me say, we need it. We need it. So Black Man is 100% correct on that. It's a place that we need to be able to converse with one another, to be able to be safe, to have a conversation with one another. But, and I hate using that word but, because but negates everything prior. But the conversation needs to be progressive. It needs to be progressive. The conversation needs to be progressive. If we're having the same conversation for 7 months, then the conversation is not progressive. There's something wrong. If we're having the conversation in different ways, it's packaged in a different way, but it's the same thing. We're not going to get nowhere because we're doing the same thing, and we all know what the definition of insanity is, right? For those of you that don't, it's doing the same thing and expecting different results. So it doesn't matter what platform we go on. It doesn't matter what therapist we speak to. If the conversation is not going to be progressive, we're going to end up being the same person that we were when we walked in. We are trying to figure out what our trauma is. So, this wasn't going to be the topic, but it is what it is. Everything happens for a reason. So let's roll with it. So, it is said that I pander to the woman. I pander. I say that it's the man's fault. This is what it is said. And I think that if anyone hear me speak, I never say it's the man's fault. I say that if you're going to be a husband, right? And you know, nowadays people don't want to get married. And if you're going to be in a relationship and it's going to be a situation where you're going to live together, this is your woman. bone of your bone, flesh of your flesh. You made that covenant in front of God to say, this is my woman. Then you need to understand that in her folly, you have to take accountability. If you're not ready for that, then don't become a husband. And there's nothing wrong with you not becoming a husband. See, a lot of us don't understand what being a man is, the responsibility of a man. See, a lot of us just want to take on that crown, wear the crown. Not all, not all. But see, what they don't understand is, and again, I understand why they're doing it, right? If you've been silent all your life, you have no voice, you were born a mute. At the age of 25, you're able to speak. There's a lot you gonna have to say. There's a lot that's gonna be on your mind. And you're gonna say it. From when I was 2, you're gonna sit down and hear what I have to say. And I'm all for that. I'm all for it. Let's go through it, baby. Let's talk about it. Let's talk about where you are, where you were, to where you are, and to where you could be. Let's talk about it. Let's get there. But it has to be progressive. So when you're stuck on the why, that why is an anchor. We need to get to what? What do you mean by what, Bolo? Because a lot of us are stuck on the why. Why am I here? Why did this happen? Seldomly we hear what? What do I need to learn from this situation? What do I need to learn? What happened? This is why meditation, this is why self-introspection, this is why meditation and speaking with your Father is so important. Stop trying to figure it out yourself. You're bad at it. All of us are. Stop thinking you got the answer. You don't. None of us do. But allow those that have gone through and managed to weather the storm and found the answer, allow them to lead you. Stop fighting. Stop fighting, man. This is why when you're drowning, the lifeguard can knock you out. Why? Because if he allows you to flail because you're worried about drowning like anybody would, you both going to drown. So there has to be progressive movement. Why? Because we are the ones that build. We are the ones that conquer. We are all those things that we talk about. So we need to get our mind right. So that's why it's about progressive. Do women have accountability in the dysfunction of the home? Hell yes, they do. Not just yes, hell yes, they do. But again, and I give this example all the time. Village, if there's a leak in the house and a fire in the house, the leak is the number 1 and fire is number 2. What do we typically deal with first? Do we deal with the leak, number 1, or the fire, number 2? I will wait. What do we deal with first, the leak or the fire? The leak being number 1, fire number 2. What do we deal with first? Black Genesis says fire. BCDC says fire. Butterfly says 1. The leak? Are you getting the numbers confused, Butterfly? Leak is 1, fire is 2. Leak is 1, fire is 2. We typically deal with the fire first because the leak will damage the house. The fire will destroy the house. That's the difference. That's the difference, Butterfly. The leak will damage the house. The fire will destroy the house. A leak goes through sheetrock. Just dry out the sheetrock. A fire goes through sheetrock. You got to replace it. You have to replace it. Now, in that example, who do you think the fire is? In that example, ladies and gentlemen, who do you think the fire is? Is that the man or the woman? Who do you think the fire is? Do you think it's the man or the woman? Who do you think the fire is? Is it the man or the woman? Who is the fire, the man or the woman? Guess you guys don't know. Okay. The fire is the man. The fire is the man. And even though we have not had a voice, even though we have not been able to speak for a very long time, even though, exactly, Black Genesis, even though we have not had a voice, the fire is the man, Butterfly. We still have to keep it real. We still have to understand what our positions are. I understand that we haven't had a voice. Believe me, I understand. I've been doing this for over. Listen, man, I understand. I understand. But what we have to understand is our position. Understand our position. Understanding our position is so important. We have to get it together. We have no choice but to get it together. We have no choice. So I'm an equal opportunity shooter. I shoot at men the same way I shoot at women, figuratively speaking, not literally. Okay. I call out everyone's wrongs and rights. There's no favoritism here. There is none. Because I mess up just like all of you mess up. I've been corrected on the channel the same way anyone else has been on the channel. And we just had a person say that even if I'm wrong, I don't let y'all know. Correct. In other words, Butterfly, when we're looking at a home, right? Women, the destruction that women have in most situations take longer to happen than with men. With men, because we're powerful, because we're stronger, our destruction when it comes to dysfunction happens faster. It's bigger, grander, stronger. That's what that means. Now, not in all situations. Not in all. But the majority. Because we are the stronger ones. We are the heads. So we have to get it together. We have to get it together. We have no choice, man. We have no choice. This is why we do what we do here. This is why the Village was created, because there was no place on YouTube that do it, and there's no place on YouTube that do it now. There's no place like the Village in YouTube. No place. None. When we talk about mental illness, disease, addiction, self-deletion, graping. Do we have fun? Sure, but that's not our premise. Our premise is there's a problem, and we're going to attack it head on. This is why most of us are here. We're not the biggest channel, and we're not going to be the biggest channel. We're not. I can tell you this. We're one of the most important. Hell yeah. There are other channels out there that are important that we need to support. There are other channels out there that we need to meditate on. There are other channels that have healthy conversations. They do. But if the conversations are not going to be progressive, then why have the conversations? If the conversations are going to be the same every time we talk, then we're doing something wrong. As a majority, if I'm talking to you one-on-one, then that's different. Then it's different. Remember, these conversations that we're having are saved in prosperity. They're saved. They're not going no place. They're on the internet. Saved. So the thing that we waste so much is the commodity that we have so little of. And that's time. We waste so much time. We waste so much of it with having these conversations that go nowhere. Because you know why? Well, we'll finish this conversation tomorrow, and you don't know if you're going to make it till tomorrow. That's the topic. Where are you with God? Where are you? Where are you? We talk about this temporal life that we have. Where are you in your eternal life? Where are you? Brothers and sisters, you need to really look in that mirror and make a decision on what you're going to do, or a decision will be made for you. Either way, we walk around thinking that tomorrow's promised. I'm talking to you guys like I'm going to talk to you tomorrow. I may not. That's why when you hear me speak, I say, Lord willing, see you tomorrow morning. Lord willing. Why? I may not. If he allows me, Lord willing, if he allows me to see you, I'll see you. If not, know that I loved every one of you. Know that I loved you. Know that I love you. Know that I love you. Word. Let's stop wasting time, man. We make preparations for everything in our lives. Insurance, wills, vacation. We make preparation for everything, not knowing that we may not make it. But hardly do we ever think about the afterlife. Are we making preparations for that? Are we looking into that the same way you look into vacations, the same way you look into life insurance policies and which company you're going to go with? You should be doing the same thing with your afterlife, man. Same thing. Our conversation should be progressive. That conversation that Sir Hale Speaks allowed me to broadcast, and thank you for that, was a progressive conversation. Although you may not think it, it's a progressive conversation. Why? Because the hard conversations need to be had. We got to stop being in one place. That doesn't mean that we're not going to be in that place. What it means is let's take a step, even if it's just 2 inches. Why did we end up here? Every person has a different story on why they're here. So to make it a big, broad statement it's not right. It's not right. It is not right. Yes, there is a systematic attack on masculinity. We see it. It's not something that we don't see. We see it. We see it. This is why the brotherhood is so important. This is why the conversations need to be had offline, not just on, offline. Let me holler at you. Talk to me about your issues. Offline. The reason why women don't follow men is because they don't feel safe enough to follow. Period. But what do you mean, Bolo? I'll give you an example. Okay. Take your most feminist woman on the planet, whoever her name is, whoever she is. Put her next to your most masculine dude on the earth, whoever he may be. Let a pit bull come at them. Let's see what she does. And feminism goes out the damn window. And any woman that say it doesn't, they're a liar. You'll see masculinity and femininity at its rawest. She's going to jump behind him, and he's going to do his best to protect them. And here's the crazy thing. Masculinity and femininity works together. They were created for each other. But see, the statement that I made when I went on Sir Hale's channel, which went over some people's heads, is the immaturity in your masculinity, the immaturity in your femininity. We think that they operate outside of each other, and they don't. Femininity is nothing without masculinity. Masculinity is nothing without femininity. They were created for each other. The same way men were created, well, women were created for men. Hand in glove, man. This is not hard. This ain't rocket science. Do our men need therapy? Hell yeah, they do. Do our men need to talk? Hell yeah, they do. Do our men need to get things off their chest? Hell yeah, they do. Hell yeah, they do. But to be having the same conversations that we've been having for 7 months, it's a waste of time, man. It's a waste of time. It's a waste of time. It's a waste of time. And that's the one thing that we don't tangibly have. I can't tell you I'm going to see you tomorrow. I say it. See you guys tomorrow, man. But God says, nah, Bolo ain't going to see you tomorrow. Bolo ain't waking up. You know what the next question should be? I hope Bolo was right with Christ. I hope Bolo was right with Christ. Where are you? See, this is the first time in a long time, right, that all of YouTube are going to be talking about one thing for the next couple of days. Some people are going to be talking about his life. Some people are going to be talking about his death. This is the one time. Wherever you fall on it, whether you liked them or you didn't. See, what death does, it's so polarizing, right? Death is the only time when all family get together. Death is the only time. Reunions, maybe. You might see 90% of the fam. Death, everybody comes. Everyone's coming from outside the universe, from the different solar systems. Everyone is coming. Cats you haven't seen since they were fetus. Exaggerate, but you get my point. And this is the time we get to speak to them. This is the time I get to say, damn, I haven't seen you in a long time, man. We need to keep in contact. I love you. And then when we all go our separate ways, we fall right back into our old habits. We say we're going to get better with God. We say that we're going to have a relationship with God. We say that we're going to give our lives to God. And what happens? We go back to doing the same old thing. Well, here's the thing. Make your decision. All I'm going to tell you is, as much as we put into so many other things and research and we do all these things, shouldn't you research where you're going to be after here? Because here's the thing, Satan can't promise you life. It's the one thing he can't promise you. Can't promise you life. So make a decision, or one will be made for you. You can't serve two masters. You have to pick one. I hope that, I wish that we all could make it. But that's not what the good book says. It's not what the gospel is. Everyone is not going to make it. Many are called, few are chosen. A lot of people are not going to make it. So make your election sure. Tomorrow's not promised. Tomorrow's not promised to you. Tomorrow's not promised to me. So where are you with God? Where are you? What's your relationship with him? Do you have one? A lot of you are going to say, yeah, I do. Relationship, not just, calling him when you need him. Him in a little box in your purse. Or you have him in your wallet. That's not a relationship. There's reciprocity in a relationship. What does that mean? There's information flowing both ways. It's give and take. It's not just take. And a lot of us do that with God. We take. We never give. He doesn't want you to give so many things. He wants you to give one thing. Just one thing. One thing he wants you to give. Just one thing. One thing he asks you to give. What is that? Your life. You give your life to so many other things daily that doesn't profit you. Why not give your life to the King of Kings, who died for you, who died for your sins, because you could take death. He took it. He died. He paid the price. I'm not going to make this a long and drawn out stream, because we got to come here, Lord willing, tomorrow morning at 6:40 to have this conversation about the Bible to read, and then Testimony Friday. So what I'm going to say to you is, where are you with God? Are you working on your retirement from this world? Where are you? I love you all. Love yourselves and each other. Lord willing, see you in the morning. Where are you with God? Those of you that haven't, give your life to Him. Accept Him as your Lord and Savior. Please.